Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 ECWA Hall of Fame. Every show we induct a couple of names from ECWA's past that helped shape our current position. Tonight we are honored to induct both Brady Hicks and Chris Wylde into the ECWA Hall of Fame 2023 class. Here to induct Brady Hicks, the 2023 ECWA Super 8 winner, and the man who will challenge for the ECWA Heavyweight Championship later tonight in a last man standing match, the 5-star stud, Joey Ace!
I would do this right here. I was instructed to, but I'm not. I'm gonna go in the ring. So guys, join me in the ring. Big man, I want you to come in here too, baby. All right. Guys, I've been in the ECWA now for 5 years. And the first time I came out here, I was anxious. I was nervous. It was a boatload of emotions. And the first man I met when I walked in the building was Brady Hicks. And Brady made me feel at home. Brady made me feel like I was the man from the beginning. Over the years, I've spoken to him. We've had plenty of heart-to-hearts. And I would always, each show, go to him and, hey, man, like, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? And just bounce ideas off of him. And he would give me tons of ideas. And he's been here now 16, 17 years with the ECWA. And you know, at first I didn't know, like when he asked me to do this, I was really nervous. I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could do it justice. And Brady, I love you like my brother. We have a thing that me, Ray Calitri, we call him Papi. And what I would love for all of you guys to do tonight, all you guys fans in attendance tonight, if you guys could give me a Papi chant while I introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Brady Hicks. Papi, Papi, Papi. Papi, the floor is yours.
I love you. Thank you, babe. Joey Ace, everybody. Papi. My God. I had to write it down because I don't want to forget anything. Thank you to ECWA for this huge honor. You know, it still doesn't feel real. I've never really been athletic enough to do anything in the ring. Just ask Sean Carr, he'll tell you. I've always been just happy enough when people liked what I've had to say. One question I always get from people is how I got involved in wrestling. It's not easy to say. It's kind of been like a butterfly effect, sort of, in a way. For me, it started with a girl that I used to date. Without Jeanette, I never would have worked for the Philadelphia News Gleaner, where she was my editor. Without that, I wouldn't have interviewed Shawn Michaels when he came to town. If I didn't get to talk to Shawn, I never would have learned about what to do about my desire to be in pro wrestling, as far-fetched as it seemed. He never would have had me reach out to Stu Sachs, and I never would have met great PWI friends like Frank Cruda, rest in peace, Kevin McElvaney, and Joe Zanoli. I went with Kevin to a Bill Apter karaoke event, and that's where I met my VOC Nation partner, Bruce Wirt. And most importantly of all, I think without PWI, I never would have gotten invited to come out to ECWA to cover a Super 8 tournament. To ECWA's owners, Jim Kettner, who opened his locker room to a stranger and never really made me feel like one. To Mike Tartaglia, who gave me a platform and encouraged me, even when I almost burned out. And Ryan Cavanaugh, who let me continue this journey when he certainly didn't have to. Since Ryan took over, ECWA has been such a great family. I'm so glad that I'm one of the few that's gotten to bridge 3 different owners and keep ECWA's traditions alive. It's so fitting to look at my fellow Hall of Famers in this class because each of them represents something different about ECWA over the years that I've really loved. You know, when I first walked into ECWA in 2007, I remember thinking I stumbled on something really cool, you know. It never occurred to me what an understatement that was. To ECWA's locker room, past and present, thank you for accepting me. Thank you for letting me be a small part of your company. No matter where your careers took you or are going to take you, they've all been great journeys. Now, you'll never hear me say that announcing is easy. It's so difficult to tell a story, try to fill time, and entertain people all at once. I'd never trade it for anything. I've learned so many different things from so many talented people over the years, and I'm just going to name a few. Bobby Heenan and Jerry Lawler taught me to think on my feet. Joe Zanoli, the importance of loyalty. John Finnegan, how to conduct myself in and out of a locker room, and we're still working on that. Frank Fruta, friendships trump everything. Fellow Poppies, Joey Ace and Ray Calitri, stay positive about yourself. Greg Spitz, Teddy Fine, and the future King Reggie. You can be successful while you're having fun. New Moon pals, Justin America and Dean Dixon, value yourself even when others don't. Tommaso Ciampa, don't get discouraged. And Bob Ortiz, always be humble. To my VOC Nation family, which gives me a platform to practice this nonsense every week, Bruce Wirt taught me to make everything exciting, except for apparently this speech, but that's another thing. Maestro and Kathy taught me to be nice to everyone. And Bill Apter, that everything should be a spectacle, even if nobody's looking. To my commentary tag partners over the years, too many of them to name, but I'll just mention a few. Jeff Malinowski, you're so missed too. Brandon Tull, Dean Dixon, MLJ, Joey Styles, Phil Sly, Eric the Lawyer, Joel Goodhart, Jim Shorts, and my partner over there, Will Strauss. I mention them specifically because they each taught me something important, or they carried me enough so that I could stick around and try to learn something. I have always said that Phil Sly was my favorite partner. When he was doing his thing with the Cuban Heritage Championship, we get lost in our conversations, but somehow seamlessly find our way back to the ring and the story we were trying to tell. I miss our talks while driving to the shows so much. You know, Will, I actually see a lot of similarities between you and Phil. But you're the most informed play-by-play guy I've ever worked with. You're so committed to getting the story right. Then unfortunately I come in and it's my job to mess you up, but that's another thing. To the fans who have supported me in so many ways over the years, thank you. To my friends who came out to support me tonight, even if it's just to see some men roll around in their underwear. Just kidding, Will. I'm just kidding. To my wife, Kelly, for almost 10 years, she's encouraged me and supported my passion for wrestling, even though it's not her thing. Thanks, Kelly. I love you. My friend, Monsieur Ooh La La, once told me that everything falls into place if you're having fun. What a great message. Whether I've been behind the booth, backstage, in the crowd, or in an ECWA ring, my journey has been so much fun. What could be more fun than killing 45 minutes in front of a live camera because of a tech issue? That is always fun. A couple other fun things that ECWA's given me, and then I'll get out of here. Driving Stacy Carter around. Getting smacked around by Demolition, who could have hit me a whole lot harder. Befriending Papa Don, except that time that he slapped me. He could have hit me a whole lot softer. Calling a turkey bowl, of course. Hanging out with Xavier Woods after SmackDown because he never forgot about Super 8. Watching Tommaso Ciampa complete his story in 2011 and go on to do great things. Having a front row seat all these years, watching talent come in and grow and move on to do amazing things in wrestling. That front row seat thing is as great as it gets for me. I'm so humbled to be the voice telling so many of your amazing stories. Thank you so much to everybody for letting me be a part of your world. ECWA has been there for me through my toughest times, and it's given me some of my best. The kid in me would be blown away by this honor. I remember reading about ECWA and Super 8 in the magazines and wishing I knew how to get involved in it all. I never thought it could give me all that it did. Whether you're physically here tonight or just in spirit, just know that I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our next inductee. He's a former TWA heavyweight champion, a four-time ECWA legacy champion, and ECWA heavyweight champion. He's the heart killer, the headliner, Chris Wylde. And here to induct Chris Wylde is former ECWA matchmaker, Joe Zanoli.
Somebody boo me? How's everybody doing? Thank you. It's good to be here tonight at ECWA, not only for Night of Unusual Matches, which is something you will not see very often. I can't tell you the last time I saw a coal miner's glove match. But it's also great to be here tonight for the Hall of Fame. Many wrestling promotions will have their Hall of Fame. It's not just a token or a plaque, but it's really a show of appreciation and gratitude for all the work and dedication someone has put in for a certain promotion and its recognition by their peers. Our next Hall of Fame inductee tonight, I first met in 2010. It was at the Super 8. His opponent was WWE superstar Tommaso Ciampa. He had a great match that night with Tommaso Ciampa. Even though he did not win, when I saw him that night, I knew in my heart that in the years to come, he would play a big part in ECWA. Over the years, he's competed in 2 Super 8s. He's won the Mid-Atlantic Championship, which is now the Legacy Championship, on 3 occasions, and he was a heavyweight champion. During his years, I would refer to him as the heart and soul of ECWA, as he put in so much time and dedication and professionalism to this promotion. He's had great matches over the years with Joey Martinez, Breaker Morant, Blackheart, and his heavyweight championship win over the Greek god Papadon. Lastly, if someone was to ask me who my Mount Rushmore of ECWA would be, I would definitely reserve a spot for our next inductee, ladies and gentlemen, the heart killer, Chris Wylde.
I think that's the first time that I've done my entrance here and not been blown up. With that being said, before I get into the speech, Joe Zanoli, everybody. I was going to wait to thank him, but this man, he might be one of the most underappreciated people I've ever met, just in the professional wrestling business, because he has absolutely written some of the best stuff that you will come across. With that being said, professional wrestling is a business based off creativity and entertainment. But we as fans, we as professionals, we thrive on the genuine moment. We thrive on it. We want it. We crave it. This is a genuine moment for me. This is one of those genuine moments. I got to be honest. I've been in street fights, submission matches, Iron Man matches, dog collar matches. I've been hit by a car by Bobby Shields. I've thrown fireballs. I've been in War Games matches, all here in the ECWA. And this has got to be the most nervous that I have been. To sum up an entire career in the span of minutes is going to be very hard, but I'm going to try to do it for you. I've always looked at Hall of Fames in professional wrestling, and I believe that they were for people that were on their way out, that they were for people that were ready to retire or that were already retired. So whenever I would get asked about being in a company's Hall of Fame, as it is an awesome honor, I always would turn them down. But then I got the call for this one. And when I say call, I mean message, because it's 2023, right? And when I got the call for this one, it was different. This Hall of Fame has went back since 1982. Look around at all the faces that you see on the posters. Look at Christopher Daniels, Mr. Ooh La La, Jim Kettner himself, the Hoss brothers. Names that are transcendent in this business are in this Hall of Fame, and this is one Hall of Fame that I just couldn't turn down. And it reminds me, when I got this call, it reminds me of another call that I got. And that was in 2010 when Jim Kettner himself called me to be in the Super 8 tournament. Now, I got to be honest with you. Growing up in Delaware, I was a puny kid that was the last picked in sports, wasn't very popular, lived and breathed with wrestling. And I only knew WWF and WCW until I picked up a Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine and I saw this thing called ECWA. And I saw guys that looked like the guys I saw on TV. I saw guys that, like Cheetah Master, like Mr. Ooh La La, that absolutely blew my mind and made me want to go see ECWA. So I begged my dad, and he took me to an ECWA show in St. Matthews in Wilmington, and that was when I wanted to become a professional wrestler. Now again, at my size, in a time of giants, it was an absolute pipe dream. So when I got that call in 2010, I talk about genuine moments. That was a genuine moment for me. I just wanted to be in this ring. I didn't care if it was in a squash match. I didn't care if it was in a competitive match. I didn't care if they dressed me up like a clown or a banana. I didn't care. I just wanted to be part of the ECWA, and now here I am. in the 2010 Super 8 tournament, not only in the tournament, beating Alex Reynolds, then facing Tommaso Ciampa, and my wrestling career taking off. This is when you guys go, yay, his career took off. The ECWA is a special place, man. It really is. And shortly after the Super 8, I got to have some really good matches in the beginning with Jim Kettner at the helm against a guy named Mozart Fontaine, who was part of the Chick Magnets. I always wanted to be a Chick Magnet, so to face Mozart was something awesome. I won the Mid-Atlantic Championship from Mozart Fontaine in a good match. Worked guys like Aiden Chambers, wrestled Danny Echoes, who you can see every week as a referee on WWE TV. And I was having the time of my life. And then I get the email that the great Jim Kettner is retiring. So now this man that I wanted to pick his brain and get creative knowledge and become a better performer is now gone. And here comes Mike Tartaglia and Joe Zanol. And oh, by the way, the most famous referee in the entire wrestling business, John Finnegan. And what I thought was going to be a negative turned into an absolute positive. I was thrust into a storyline that, to this day, it almost seems like it didn't happen. It was the Blackhearts trying to take over the ECWA, and Team ECWA, a bunch of young guys with a lot of grit that wanted to keep that tradition of ECWA alive. And again, like I said earlier, I got beat up by Breaker Morant. I got ran over by Bobby Shields. There was a guy named Atu that was 7 foot forever that threw me around. And then there was the War Games match. And in the War Games match, I threw a ball of fire, and the Greek god Papadon came in the ring and put me in an ambulance. That became one of the craziest moments in my life. And a little inside baseball, and they're probably going to tell me to take it home soon. We're in the back before the War Games match. I know I'm going to throw a fireball, but I've never thrown a fireball before. So Breaker Morant and Papadon and a bunch of the guys are trying to show me how to throw this fireball. And wrestling fans all remember Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior in WCW, and the fact that when Hogan went to throw the fireball, it didn't happen. We practiced in the locker room, and guess what? I'm Hulk Hogan, but not in the good way. I don't got bleach blonde hair and a bunch of muscles. I just can't throw a fireball. So the big ending to this storyline now goes upon me and my sweaty hand trying to throw a fireball. And I could see in each one of the eyes of the guys in that match, they did not think I could do it. Go back on the archives, look in YouTube. I threw the biggest goddamn fireball you'll ever see. Super Mario would be proud. And it was amazing. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And I got to tell you, I'm going to leave so many people out. I could talk forever. Josh Daniels had a great, absolute awesome feud with him. A guy that I was legit scared and intimidated of. I started wrestling with him in the 2011 Super 8. We're in a 6-man. I absolutely crapped the bed, and he let me know it. I was scared to death. Months later, we're in an Iron Man match. And again, he taught me so many good things. Josh Daniels, if he's not already, should be on this wall as well. I talk about storylines, and I gotta say before I go, my absolute favorite one was with then Ricky Martinez, Renee Michelle, Carrie Klein, rest her soul, and my mentor, the great J.J. Dillon. Now, what started over the Mid-Atlantic Championship through almost a year and some twists and turns ended up with me in a shower with Renee Michelle. That's caught on tape. Carrie Klein, a friend of mine, turning on me. And then J.J. Dillon helping me win the Mid-Atlantic Championship. Again, just something you could come see every month. It was a story that I will absolutely never forget. And before I go, and again, I could talk and talk. I know people are getting their popcorn and their merchandise back here. I want to thank some people. Again, Joe Zanol, thank you. Thank you still today for everything you do. Jim Kettner, thank you for calling a kid that never thought he could step in these ropes. John Finnegan, thank you for when I say the best ref in the business, I also think of Mike Keener, but John Finnegan was a guy I could come to with anything, about anything, and he would give me his absolute honest opinion. Hey, Chris, that sucked. Hey, Chris, that was really good. Sometimes I'd be in the ring, we'd be having the match, and he would say, man, awesome effing match. And that would just be that extra little added thing I had to do to get through those matches. John Finnegan is absolutely awesome. Brady Hicks, fellow Hall of Famer. This is a selfless guy, gives up his time to give us a platform to talk. And he just did with me, and it was awesome. Thank you, Brady. Bob Ortiz, legendary ECW referee, gave us a building in Pennsylvania at an ice rink that I had some of my greatest matches with Joe Gacy in. The guy's a sweetheart. I wish he was here today so I could thank him. Mike Tartaglia. Mike Tartaglia is one of the most outspoken guys, but on a day where I thought ECWA might be dead, he let it go on for years, and it's still here today. And again, I have some of my best memories in the ring with him. The Greek god Papadon, and this will be one of the last people I thank. One of the absolute best wrestlers, the best unsigned wrestler today. He took me to school. He did something that a lot of guys wouldn't do. After a 464-day reign, it might be more than that, him and I got in this ring, and I won Big Red, the iconic championship, something that was covered in magazines, and something that led me to a moment I'll get to in a minute when I close. I also want to thank all the boys back there, man, because these are the guys that are keeping this thing going. These are the guys that are keeping the soul of the ECWA alive. And what I believe is still the developmental, before there was developmental, these guys are lighting it up. And quite frankly, I wouldn't mind getting in the ring with any of them. But I want to close with this, and this is what ECWA means to me. And I know everybody's excited. If I could just have your attention for just 1 second so I can close this out. I want to close with this. Professional wrestling has been a passion for me. It's been my life. It will continue to be my life. I ain't going nowhere. But I had one of my proudest moments in this ring. And I talked about beating Papadon, and again, we talk about genuine moments, right? Because we know we do this. This is a form of entertainment. Nobody's pulling the wool over you guys' eyes anymore. But a genuine moment happened in that ring when I got a chance to pick up and hold in this ring with a mic in my hand my 1-year-old daughter. Now, yesterday, a friend of mine passed away. He took his life. And it made me think about just how awesome life is. And when you get moments like these, and you get moments like I had, you have to cherish them and take in every second. So what I want to do is that 1-year-old little girl, she's videotaping me over there. She drove 3 hours to get here. I want to bring her back in this ring. And I'm just going to try to recreate the moment. Now, I can't pick her up because she's bigger than me. Thank you.